Good morning, everybody. Monday show, Texas Homer here. Eric Nalin, Coach Dub. When we got a nice dub versus Clemson, that was fun as well. Drew, appreciate you. Great time to be a Longhorn. I agree. It's a fun time, and it's 10:30 on the East Coast, and Jaden Blue is still running. Jaden Blue, hell of a game. We'll definitely talk about that.
Play of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen him turn on the burners, and that was awesome. Roaster, good morning to you as well. All right, I figure we talk Clemson first. Reminisce about a wonderful Saturday we had. Eric did a good article on InsideTexas.com. Make sure to go there, subscribe, and you can read all of it and interact with all the subscribers who we have one of the most unique, we have the most unique community 100%. So go join. All right, first things first. I think your first point was Jaden Blue, so let's give Jaden Blue some love. What'd you think, Eric?
Yeah, every time I'm down on that guy, he goes and does something special. You know that whoever that site is on Twitter that breaks down the miles per hour, I can't wait to see. Hopefully they break down that run when he first got out in the open. He shut it down the last 20 yards. It seemed like I was watching closely. Hold on to the ball across the goal line. He went straight through without a little worry. But he had two runs like that. The other one was just shorter. He just ran out of field. The other one would have gone 80 yards too had he needed it to. So just the elite play speed at running back. I think he reminds me a little bit of Raheem Mostert with the speed. Ooh. Wouldn't say he's Jamal or Chris Johnson fast, but he's definitely elite speed at running back. And they're going to need more of that. Outside zone was clicking, and if he gets a crease and a little bit of space, you just hope nobody blocks anybody in the back.
Yeah.
JetBlue. I don't know how that nickname didn't come back, catch on. I mean, JetBlue is perfect.
If we get that combo, man, if we have Wisner, who's just your kind of every down back, you get Gibson really good in that third down back role, and then you have Jaden Blue as a home run hitter. Now you've got this really varied run game with multi dimensions, and then that can really help us, man. That's what I think we're expecting to kind of see earlier, and we're getting it now. Coach, what did you think of the run game?
Man, I love to see it. Jaden Blue reminded me of the old Texas Tech game from last year when he hit it. I was like, okay, he's back, right? And he covered up the ball going through traffic too. The guy had a good swipe at it, but he had the ball covered, so I was happy to see that. But I love to see the running game, man. Like, you can control the clock, control the game like that. You're tough to beat, especially with a good defense. Quinn managing the game very well. Man, I love to see it. Like, that can win you a championship, right? Like, look at Michigan last year, look at Georgia the year before that. When you can run the ball, control the clock, you got a chance to be good.
Yeah, that's the biggest question in the playoffs. So they're going to be able to find balance on offense. And if they run the ball like that, and they've ran the ball against pretty much everybody not named Georgia, it makes it a lot easier on Quinn. But yeah, the person that said it never looks like he's going fast, that's just how he is. It's easy speed. I don't get it either. It's not chaotic at all. He's just looks like he's always cruising, and he's always cruising past people.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky because he has another gear there that he's not tapping into, because you'll see him around the corner. It's like, oh, he's not going to break that, and then he takes off. He has what was he in high school? A 10 what?
10.5, I think. 10.6. It might have been 10.6 FAT, but I think that might have been as a sophomore actually. So who knows what? A lot of these guys don't run track their senior year, and you never really know how fast they are. Parker Livingstone played baseball instead of running track for me having a better understanding of him. I wish he would have ran track. But sophomore year runs 21.69. I mean, if that guy's running 21.3 as a junior, people are looking at him a lot differently. But yeah, a lot of those guys don't run track their senior year. But he's a 10.6 guy, number one running back in recruiting in the nation for a while before his high school career kind of went south.
Yeah. Track speed will make fast football players look slow. All right, turnover battle. So we had what? We just had the one interception, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what did we generate from Clemson?
Yeah, one pick. It was 1-1. Texas had a couple fumbles that where they were able to recover of their own. Yeah, that was a big battle. Coming into the game, Clemson is one of the best teams in the country on turnover margin. Now, Texas would be one of the best teams in the country on turnover margin if they got help from the offense. But they had 22 turnovers coming into the game. They had a ton of takeaways because they forced their share of fumbles and have who knows how many picks. Yeah. But this was just going to come down to whether or not the offense took care of the ball, and for the most part, they did.
Yeah, we almost had one with the muff pump, but the guy kind of ran into Bolden, so that was good.
Yeah, Bolden fumbled and Arch, was it Bolden fumbled? Yeah, Bolden and Arch fumbled, but recovered it.
Yeah.
And then the tip
That one was on Bolden, right?
Aaron tips it, and Simmons comes down with it.
True.
Yeah, that was a nice play, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Barron Sorrell was on fire there for a stretch.
Yeah, he was.
And then you said too that he'd been frustrated with turnovers and penalties, but man, it didn't. I honestly loved it. It didn't seem like we had refs. Like it was nice. It was like till the third quarter where we would get mad at the refs getting overly involved. That was one of the least involved referee games.
Yeah, was it 5 total? They had 4, and I think Texas had 1 penalty. I could be wrong on that number, but it was you're right. It was just 2 teams playing, not the third team interjecting themselves repeatedly. And that again, every time I start getting down on Texas, they go and do the opposite. So I was getting quite frustrated and agitated with the amount of turnovers and shooting themselves in the foot with penalties, and then they come out and play really for the most part a clean game.
Yeah. They hey man, as long as you're not calling it for both teams, man, let them play. I thought that was really enjoyable. That was Big Ten refs too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they didn't want to deal with how treating SEC refs this whole time.
I held my breath a few times on his own stretch runs. I was like, man, please don't call holding. Like we're breaking away, please don't call holding. But
yeah,
I'm glad they let him play. Actually,
before we get back into Clemson, here's an interesting part about Arizona State. The 40 Acres landlord, Dorba, O'Meary, Smith. Is Jake Smith still on Arizona State?
Yeah, I think he is still there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's class of 2019. That's crazy. But you got Cam Rising still playing, and Casey Thompson. They were 2018.
Yeah. Zach Swanson, Jamon Tapp, and Carrington, all at Arizona State. Carrington had the biggest impact at UT. The Zach Swanson interview that's also when I was telling you the Arizona State fans are like pretty confident. It's nice to see, man. It's better than the inverse, right? But that's also part of their rallying cry is Zach Swanson's interview where he stated that the Texas coach said he wouldn't be good enough to play at Texas.
Yeah, I wasn't in the room. Maybe that's what he heard, but I'm not sure that's usually how they have that conversation. Those conversations can be tough, but I equated it to having a girlfriend. If a girl cheats on you and you break up with her, or if she's just a good girl and you're just not quite as interested, you have that conversation entirely differently. He was a good dude. I don't think they had a tough conversation with him. That doesn't sound like they would just go out of their way to be mean-spirited about his lack of playing time. Yeah. He never did anything wrong. We always heard they were high on him. They just he just had trouble putting on weight. That was the number one issue. So I find it tough to believe that they would have that conversation the way Zach presented it. But again, I wasn't in the room, and I have that understanding that they did like him as a player. Just had trouble putting on weight.
Yeah, and some of his argumentation was strange. He was like, "I have friends and a girlfriend here." It's like, okay, great, we're running a football team. It can't just because you have friends and a girlfriend doesn't. You know what? Good point. You can stay.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'll see, man. When you name that many former players, right? I don't know how many are making impact. Alfred's starting, isn't he?
Yeah. Dorba starts, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think those two are the most.
Zach Swanson doesn't have crazy stats, but he has stats. Troy hasn't got to play till recently, I think.
Tapp is in the portal, but he's practicing with the team. So
yeah, Tapp's in the portal. Jake Smith, I didn't even know he was still with the team. So maybe a couple guys have that kind of anger or whatever, but some of these guys were left so long ago too.
Yeah, Dorba. If Dorba is starting, you got to wonder if Texas just runs wild on him, because I don't. He was never going to be a great run defender, I don't think, and that's if he's starting, that probably says something good about Texas' chances of running the ball.
The O'Meary hype train was real. I still have those clips. I still have those clips of him in practice. He made some nice catches. And remember, we were wide receiver starved. Like now in the Sark era, we're used to that. But like if you could make a catch a couple of years ago, we thought you were like Calvin Johnson.
Buzz about O'Meary in fall camp, his first fall camp was the same we heard about Worthy and similar to Ryan Wingo. He was that legit, but those knee injuries, two knee injuries, I believe, that just set him back. He wasn't the same guy after that. I think he still has a chance to be pretty decent, but yeah, he was special in that August camp, and it wasn't just word of mouth. We saw the clips.
Yeah.
He was going up and doing stuff.
Yeah. So it will be interesting. I think Arizona State was definitely Texas' most western campus there for a while. And I watched them versus Texas State. I have not watched them again. I have to watch at least 3 games of them today to get a feel for them. But I'm excited to see. It seems like most of the it's mostly a culture program, right? They're going to win because of off-field things more than on-field things. But also give that running back some credit, man. That dude's a baller.
He definitely is. The biggest thing for them is not having a number one wideout to go to. If Tyson doesn't play, then who do you throw the ball to?
Yeah, and the quarterback has done a good job of taking advantage of the run game. Yeah, Skater, bro. I don't even know how to say his name for real. Scatabo, I guess. But I mean, if anybody, one of the worst things about realignment was losing the pack after dark. Those games at night, and you wind down, you're like, who the hell is this guy? He's just a brick running the ball, all over people. You could see this coming for a mile away. It was not like he just broke out of nowhere. He's been a good player for a while, but he's going to be, you talk about hero ball with Cade Klubnik. They're going to try to hero ball it with him, and I just don't think it's going to work for him, but. It's going to be fun. He'll break some tackles. He'll get their crowd fired up a time or two. But I don't think it's a sustainable way to beat Texas.
You know what I think it's similar to? Taj Brooks at Tech.
Yeah,
like Taj Brooks, good back, man. Like in tough back, right? Like you're not just going to knock him down, but still, man. We had Bijan. We were still an 8-win team. Like, the running back's not the answer. The running back has to be a complement. It can't be the offense. All right, let's talk about Cade Klubnik. Did you guys know he's from Austin?
No idea. Did he go to Lake Travis?
Dude, did you know him and Quinn played each other? Him and Quinn played each other.
Yeah, right.
But luckily now what I love is we're not getting the punishment of him leaving. Like, remember when we were bad, it'd be like, X player was in Austin and y'all messed up. Now it's like, oh, isn't that fun? Not like Texas screwed up, So it is nice.
Drew Brees was right here in Austin and Texas didn't take him, or Andrew Luck is right here in Houston and Texas didn't get him. Yeah,
even versus Brewer or Baylor is always like Brewer went to Lake Travis, and it was always just like a scolding Texas and make fun of. Now that's not the case. It's more of a fun fact. But Cade had a great game, man, and he was dropping some dimes, man, on some of those fades, man.
He really was.
I hope that actually helps out the Texas secondary, going forward. Jahdae Barron had a really good game. Other than that, some guys struggled back there.
Yeah,
maybe that's a bit of a wake up call. Maybe they're feeling themselves as the top secondary in the country. But Cade made a lot of plays. He's a good all around player. I imagine he'll be one of the top guys coming back at the position next year. And I wasn't super familiar with him as a recruit because he wasn't going to Texas, and trying to just watching him in these press conferences and how he carries himself, seems like a really solid dude.
Yeah.
Hey, do you feel like that was the first time we faced kind of like a Big 12 similar offense, kind of spread? Yeah. She had some miscommunication, right? That's the first time we had that all season.
Yeah, it felt like 5-6 years ago before everyone started getting heavy. It's funny because now we're like, remember the old spread? Like, and really, that's the modern offense, but that's what it felt. And it also felt like that's the best quarterback we've faced. And so I think it was important for the secondary. I think that was good to be like, hey, a good quarterback with good spread scheme can still get – that's the whole point of the spread.
Yeah.
So I thought that was important. They definitely were targeting Manny, but the inverse is like, I mean, who you're going to – if you're going to go outside, you have two outside guys who we've talked about they had to get involved. Okay, one of them is X'd out by the Thorpe winner.
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna throw at the other corner. There's only two options here, guys. So it's like you're probably not gonna throw at Barron. So it makes sense. But dude, their tight end mesh, that was the most egregious block where they would run him across. They didn't even pretend like he was running routes. That was one of the few times where I was like, all right, refs, I get you're letting us play, but this is like absurdly over the top.
15-yard pick play.
Yeah, like it's like they're running. And we're going to beat him. He stops, jumps into the way, and literally uses his hands to block. I'm like, guys, that's textbook against the rules. But then you saw Taft figure it out at the end, right?
They did.
I do like that our secondary is downloading that stuff. Like, all right, you're not getting that play again. And that's important mindset-wise. But I feel like it was a good wake-up call for the secondary. Barron Sorrell, I thought he had a great game too, Eric.
Yeah, Sorrell's just a full-grown man out there. We saw a little bit more playmaking out of him as opposed to just, hold the point of attack. He's getting in the backfield a little bit, getting his hands up. Yeah, just a really, 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 really good, solid all-around football player. Like just the definition of a solid college football player.
Yeah, he can bull rush. He can switch to the speed. He's and I think just the mental eval. I remember him coming out as a 3-star, and you're just like, this is a good pickup, dude.
Yeah.
He also is that kind of quiet guy. Like, you got to watch that guy, man. That just wants to kind of be quiet and work,
He's a really good reminder that how a person is built, inside and outside, but like his frame, he had so much potential because of his build. There's just a lot of space to put on functional muscle. He's got the length you're looking for. Lower body strength has come around a lot since he got on campus, and then of course the mindset. He's always had that mindset, and so I feel like we talk about him every week now, as opposed to he kind of flew under the radar in previous years.
Yeah,
and I trust him in the run game. We got some really good speed rushers, but I like this. All right, let's talk Quinn Ewers, man. I'm sure the chat will handle this well. I thought Quinn had a solid game, man.
Yeah, he had a really good game. That's what you're hoping for. Of course they had a run game. The two games they haven't been able to run it. He's going to have some struggles at times, even though he played pretty well in that second Georgia game, much better than the first one. But yeah, just give him a run game, and he's gonna make some plays. That touchdown throw to Gunnar Helm was a thing of beauty. There's not a lot of room for error on that play.
I thought his deep passing overall has been a lot better the past 2 games, and I think that's super important, right? Because if we can hit those play action shots. There was like weird parts connecting, with like them doing a little bit of DPI and stuff. But I felt like the ball placement generally was a lot stronger, and gave wide receivers a chance to make the play.
Yeah, he looked healthier too. We saw him moving around. It just seemed like he was moving like his normal self. So, yeah, if you get that run game and he's playing like that, then you can start feeling a little bit more confident about actually taking them serious as a national championship contender.
Yeah, I agree. That drive right before halftime, though, even him extending the play with making the first down with his legs, I was like, all right, he's just seeing the game. Like, it's slowed down. Like, you can just tell.
Yeah.
He's locked in. He gets it. I need this drive. I need these points before halftime, and he made it. He executed, man. Like, it was perfect.
Well, that's the advantage, too, of the scouting report of, like, Ewers can't move. Well, you can use that against him 2 or 3 times a game because they're not going to ever spy him, So I love when Quinn's just like, hey, man, we don't need you to go for 40, but if you can go for 5 right here, like, let's do it.
Yeah, there's free yards that are available to him at times, and he hasn't always taken them when they're there. Sometimes he'll try to push the ball down the field on a lower percentage throw, but man, just take it when it's there. You'd see Mac Jones pick up 20-yard chunks in 2020 and be surprised just because everybody's in man coverage with their back to the ball, and he's just taking the free yards. So yeah, just take the free yards when they're there because yards are tough to come by in the playoffs.
Did you guys see his ankle brace? Yeah, dude, I was making fun of them on postgame because they've started to name the brand now. So it's like they're doing these weird ankle brace commercials. At first it was just like, hey, there's an ankle brace. It's from Notre Dame. But now they're like the Nexor ankle brace or whatever. And I was like, you guys are saying the brand name and everything. Is that a thing now? They're talking about it like it's like super revolutionary. Is it really that cool?
I don't know. Maybe it's just good marketing. It seems to be helping him. I know that there was a lot of concerns about him being able to play, and that I think that brace has helped him. Maybe it's a bit of a placebo effect too, like giving him confidence that he has it on.
Yeah. What is it like, Mike? He's got the Jordan sneakers on, so he's Jordan.
Right. But yeah, he should keep wearing it no matter what. Put it on the other ankle too.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, before we keep going, guys, let's hear a word from Andre the Lawyer.
This video is brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the Lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the Lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
Do not let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Guess what? Probably not going to give you a good deal. Call Andre. All right. Trevor Gooseby has just been thrown into the fire, young man. Get out there and do your thing. Man, that's promising though, right? It's scary the losing Banks, right? He's so good, but Gooseby, man, been able to show up for Banks and for Cam. That's been awesome. So what do you guys thought of Goosy's performance and kind of what it projects for in the future?
I love it. I saw somebody post a picture of with Gooseby and then DJ Campbell said, hey, 2025 loading, right? I was like, yeah, like he's already there. Like he's going to be good. He's going to be the next. I don't want to put all that pressure on him, but Gooseby has a chance to be the next great. Like I wouldn't say 3 and out, I guess maybe, but he could be. Like he's he has a high ceiling, man. He stepped in and played right tackle too. So that means all the cross training, right? Understanding the footwork, the proper footwork, and all that. Yeah. Being on the left side, the right side, and still executing, man. Like the sky's the limit with this kid.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. How is he going to do on the right side? Because it is a change. You know, you're doing things differently than you would be on the left side. And how comfortable are you? Some guys just are never comfortable. They're way more comfortable on one side or the other.
It's like switch hitting.
Yeah, he looked good. That was the first couple of things that I looked for. I watched the first few reps. I'm like, oh, all right, he's fine. Nothing to worry about here. But yeah, just a fantastic evaluation. Again, we're starting to talk about him like Barron Sorrell, you know, more and more each week. Huge. You know, who knew? We knew that he was going to be good. We didn't know that he was going to be good this year. That was kind of the question. Like, we knew he had high upside. And man, I would not be surprised if he was gone after next year, because he's starting to get his name out now. It's all about, you know, name recognition. He's going to be on boards now. You know, schools are going to watch him very closely next year. Cam Williams probably going to be gone after 1 year of actual starting time. I think we could probably see the same with Gooseby, which is a little terrifying, but also it's great for the brand, especially after being an O-line desert for the NFL for so long.
Yeah, we're almost evaluating too well. We want guys for like 3 years. But
yeah, it's already like, you know, turn time's going to be on a 3-year clock the second he gets on campus. You know,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, Gooseby's awesome. Do we know anything about Cam or Majors or latest there?
Majors, I think, had the quintessential shaken up. I don't know if he actually had an injury. I think he's just rattled. I don't know, Cam. I haven't heard anything. I'm going to check today. I kind of gave people the weekend off. I didn't want to bother them. It's, you know, you got the holidays coming up. So, but I'm going to get some people on the phone today and ask him, poke around on Cam. I think people seem to be pretty optimistic, but you never know what an MRI is going to reveal. So I've got to try to figure that out today.
Cole Hudson always shows up too. Flood retaining these guys, and the depth at O-line is proven key. To have your center go down and your right tackle on the offensive line to perform like that in a playoff game against some legitimate defensive linemen for Clemson, man. Because remember, Majors goes down last year versus Oklahoma, and then now we're fried because we can't coordinate. You know, your center going down is a scary thing. You know, and for us to be able to still run our protections and all of that was great to see.
Yeah, that was a scary moment. That was a real shuffle. You know, you got to change your center. You know, Cole Hudson is extremely experienced at guard, more right guard than left guard normally. But yeah, you know, I think they've been fortunate that Cole never really looked for greener pastures. He's kind of just bided his time. I think he's been comfortable at Texas. He knows he's getting developed, and he knows his time is coming this next year. But he's also played a lot this year. That helps them keep these guys engaged and keep them excited about their future at the school. Yeah, I mean, you got to feel comfortable with it. I think Hayden played really well. You know, it's a whole lot of new stuff going on, and you know, no dead ball penalties from him. You know, he's always been a smart kid. Hayden, man, I swear, Hayden has been one of the guys this season that I don't think anybody's talking about enough. He's had a really good year after having, you know, some difficult moments prior.
Well, the first thing he did with NIL was like invest in real estate, and not a chain. So I was like, all right, this is probably going to be a long term. This is a good mental eval here.
Yeah, he bought a townhouse. I think he's getting married. He's getting married this spring.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's life's coming for him. And you know what? That guy's going to end up in an NFL camp at minimum, because he's got intelligence, he's got work ethic, and he's got size.
Yeah, he's huge. Yeah, that was that I was really impressed with the offensive line. Defensive tackles, Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton did work, but also, man, I think Bill Norton's been showing up in some big moments the past few games. So that fourth down up, I don't know why you would try to run it there. Coaching ego is a hell of a drug, man. I don't know what it is about, like, you will not stop us at the one, but there's something mentally where coaches like have to try to do that challenge. But that was a hell of a play too, because he stacked them. He kind of like cheated. He let the running back think the gap was there, and it was. If you're a running back, he made the right play, and then he suddenly just threw the guy, jumped right there, and got the running back. It was almost like he was baiting him a little bit.
Yeah, first of all, I was happy they lined up. Like, you really gonna try this? You must have watched the game versus like Texas A&M. But good luck to you, right?
Or
I know they had a better chance if they spread us out. But hey, Bill Norton made some plays in the open field too. The sack he almost got on Cade, I don't know how he escaped. He got away from that, but helped cause a fumble. But man, like Bill's situation, he might not get as many snaps as everybody else, but he plays his situational snaps like very, very well. Like, he does his job, right? And so this speaks to the team. Like, man, that defensive line, Kenny Baker got that room just balling out. Like, everybody does their job. the right way. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter the snaps they get.
Yeah, that's exactly what they brought him in for. Is that short yardage stuff? Increasing depth, of course, but he's actually making plays in short yardage, and he's getting off blocks. He's taking up space and doing his job, and he looks like he's enjoying it out there too.
Yeah.
You saw his belly hanging out the other day. I was like, that's exactly what you want. You expect that of that guy.
Yeah, that's the Sweat look too. Where Sweat's jersey would just be like here, crop top.
But Vernon and Alfred had really good games too. Didn't always show up in the box score for Vernon, but he's just really active. He just finds his way in the backfield and he's flushing guys left and right, and somebody else often cleans it up. But Bill Broughton has caused a lot more. He's made a lot harder on offenses in recent weeks. I thought he was awesome in September, and then Alfred Collins had a really good October and November, and now both of those guys are playing at a very high level. So I mean, man, we didn't see the drop off that we expected. We thought they'd be okay, but probably not this good.
Yeah, definitely. I did not think it would just be that smooth from going last. I mean, we had Murphy and Sweat. That was a crazy starting rotation. It's been awesome. All right, a lot of sugar, but let's also talk about Texas's inability to put teams away. Kind of just a weird quirk we've had for I think 4 years now. So I don't know kind of what it is. I know what it actually is. It's third quarter scoring.
Third quarter.
For whatever reason, man. So I watched I watched till halfway through the second quarter. I'm like, we're on script. It's looking good. But I never give my opinion on the offense that early in the game because it always seems to kind of switch up. So I don't know what it is. It's weird. I don't know if it's a play calling thing, quarterback thing, a tandem. You guys got any theories?
Look,
I'm out of ideas on this one. I mean, we've been tracking it like you said for 4 years. You could really throw away the first year. The roster just was not in a place to really play 4 quarters. This first year of install offense. First year is always the worst when it comes to install being on the same page schematically. So you can kind of throw that one out. This is the one that's really befuddling because you have a lot of experience, and you have a lot of. I mean, it's a hungry team. You could tell they're a hungry team. They come in focused every week, and it's just somehow they seem to lose focus when they get a lead. We've seen it far too often. I don't know. If Sark can't figure it out, this guy sitting on a couch in Montgomery, Texas, isn't going to be able to figure it out either.
Yeah. I don't know if Sark is expecting a counterpunch coming out in third quarter, like he has a game plan that he wants to run, right? And it seems like don't go away from what's working. I thought we went back to it in the fourth quarter, but third quarter, I felt like we got a little too cute, like when it was no point. Sometimes you don't have to show everything. Just stick to the basics. I can't think of – was the Kilmer hitting the kid's helmet, Moxon's helmet? Stick to the basics. Stick to the basics. Like, that's what I feel like we don't do enough going third quarter because he has a script. He has a game plan that he wants to stick to, that he has in his mind. This is what's going to work, right? They're going to counter me, so I got to be ready for this. Like, sometimes you don't have to do that. But who knows? Yeah,
there's always like kind of the theme I've seen is like if we're running really, really well, then suddenly we like switch to pass focus, and it's like why, and the inverse is true as well. So it's like because sometimes we'll be in the third quarter, like they're shutting down the run, and we're just running ourselves into a brick. It's just weird. And it's a little bit different every time. It's not like we're learning the same. It's not like he's reverting to run every time, and then you could be like, oh, it's that. I don't know what it is. It's strange, but that's why the first quarter, man. That's what matters. If we start off strong, I feel good about it.
Start off strong and run the ball. Obviously that game got off to a rough start. We haven't seen. When was the last time we saw a team just go down on the first drive?
Yeah, that was weird.
You're thinking, they've done a really good job adjusting when teams do have a long, sustainable drive, but we'd never see them get a team starting off the game. Of course, more often than not, Texas seems to have the ball first, but. Yeah, that was a hell of an answer on that next drive. And, I would be lying if I didn't say I felt a little anxious after watching Clemson just march down.
That was so scripted. Like whenever you see those like perfect drives where it's like short right here, long left here, like whenever it's like that is so planned out that's really hard to do in the heat of the battle. And they did it better, but it was like they had their zone beater, their man beater, like they knew what they were going to see. That's just good coaching. And it's not surprising for Clemson, but that was like so well done that it's almost artificially weird. It doesn't generally stick to the game. But yeah, when they did that, there's only a couple drives. It's so rare we remember them. Like when Arkansas did it, it's like they stick out, which is also a great thing because that means it's so rare. We remember like 3 times it's happened all season. But hey, man, it is what it is with third quarters. Let's rack up points in the first and the second and see if that's enough. All right. I think we're good here. Let's talk a little bit of portal madness. So do we have Clemson's defensive tackle Peter Woods? Is he in yet or just tweeting?
No, he's not in. There's no guarantee he's going to go in.
Okay.
But if he goes in, the market for him will be insane. Everybody needs D tackles, much less great D tackles. And so, we'll see. I guess the most interesting thing this morning was Eric Singleton committed to Auburn. The wide receiver out of Georgia Tech, very explosive kid. We had mentioned that Texas was, I wouldn't say taking a full pass on him, but they didn't go as all in as they could have. They just didn't feel comfortable about it. And so, that was, I wouldn't say it was a pass. You can define it as a loss to Auburn. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But they weren't all in on that like they have been on some other guys. When Texas is all in on them, it usually ends up with us being, watching it to the last second, like Michael Fasusi. We didn't know Texas was all in there. We didn't know if they were going to get him or not, or Justice Terry, which they did get. You didn't see that sort of build up here because, like I said, they took a quasi pass on it.
Yeah.
The classic quasi pass.
Quasi pass.
Make a move for Branch out of USC.
They have interest there for sure. I think Branch has a lot of interest in Texas. He realizes, hey man, my career's not going the way it should be going based on my, raw talent. He thinks that Sark is a great guy to develop him. But here's the problem. You're kind of defined by your dumbest rival when it comes to how much they're willing to pay. And if somebody's going to see that talent, see he's a 5-star and all that, and you can watch some of his plays in college, like the guy's play speed's insane. Yeah. Somebody might reach for him. Texas doesn't really feel like they need to reach. They'd like to get a discount based on the fact that, hey, this going to Texas is probably what's best for your career. I don't know what his other options are, but we've seen him develop a lot of wide receivers. You got a lot of guys going to the NFL, going to have at least one more this season, maybe
coaching
2.
Ability.
Yeah. Yep, coaching ability. Ryan Wingo's going to the NFL. DeAndre Moore's going to the NFL if he can hold on to the ball. Matthew Golden's going. Adonai Mitchell just went. Xavier Worthy. I mean, just Jamie French is probably going to go. Khalil Lock. So you want to get in that queue and try to get developed. We'll see if he wants to play the long game that way. That's what it does. I don't know who's in his ear. Usually the people that are in their ear want the quick money rather than the long money.
Yeah. Well, and two, it's like I'm always suspicious of generally when the kids go in, they kind of know where they might be headed. So I'm always interested to see if it's a true battle or if it's.
Well, we know he has interest in Texas, so I don't think he knows exactly where he's going. I think he wants Texas to have the same exact amount of interest in him as he has in them. Yeah. We'll see. I don't know how it's going to play out. That might get interesting though.
That'd be cool. Any other wide receivers in the portal that Texas?
I haven't heard of any others right now. There's a number of good ones, but they've passed on a lot of really good college football players only to get one that's got more upside sort of late in the portal. You know how they like to operate under the cover of darkness. So I probably got an assassin scope on me right now through that window.
You got a red dot on your chest right now.
Yeah, there's usually something up their sleeve. They passed on Barry and Brown. Felt like that might have happened the first time, or 2 years ago, and it didn't happen. And last year, it didn't happen. So they're just, you never know what they have up their sleeve. Could be a kid on a playoff team that's got a lot of upside. Maybe hasn't quite done it yet. Like Adonai Mitchell, I think had 17 receptions the year before. Matthew Golden hadn't really had a breakout yet, but it's those guys that have the traits, and that they just, you get them in the right offense with the right quarterback, and they're going to blow up.
Coach, you out of here, man?
Yeah, I gotta go. Quick doctor's appointment, just check up, but I'm good. But yeah, man, look, I'm glad to always be on Monday mornings with you guys, man, and
cool, man.
Talk sports and talk football, man.
Merry Christmas, Charlie.
All right, Merry Christmas.
Peace out, man.
All right,
later.
All right, and then you kind of hinted in the article, man, that Tennessee loss. Oof, man. They did not come. The lack of humble attitude had to make that a lot worse for Tennessee, but. You said that was a team you were hoping would lose for portal purposes. Not naming names, but
I'm just waiting to see what happens. Everybody's got portal concerns, even teams that make the playoffs, even teams that have decent NIL like Tennessee. Tennessee kind of had like a lesser sort of Texas type of season. They were a weird team to observe from afar.
They were weird,
and then they just got worked. But yeah, there's a couple guys on there that I'm checking to see. If they go in, then I think Texas will have interest. There's going to be some holes on this Texas roster, I think, that people aren't quite expecting, or they're going to try to address positions that maybe you wouldn't think is a priority. And we'll see if Tennessee impacts that at all.
When does the portal close for this?
It closes the 28th. But I believe it's teams that play the last playoff game. They players have 5 days to go in. So that, obviously, you get knocked out on the 31st or the 1st, you got 5 days to go in.
That's so crazy. So agents have to be working the phones prior to that, because that's super risky to just show.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times that people are expecting somebody to go in, just on word of mouth from the agents, and then it all boils down to whether or not they actually go in. But there's some interesting names out there that if they go in, Texas will have interest. And it's been like that the last couple cycles.
Yeah, man. We got to change some of this structure, because some of this stuff is insane to have to be prepping for the playoffs and handle all of that. Before we keep going, y'all, let's hear from Laura Baker.
Hi, I want to tell you about Laura Baker. If you're looking for a new home in the 512, or even at this point, let's face it, 737 area code, there's only one number to call. That's Laura Baker at 512-784-0505. As a member of the elite Andy Allen team with Keller Williams, Laura has helped Longhorns find the home of their dreams in Central Texas. Just ask our resident sex symbol, Ian Boyd, who moved all the way from Michigan to Texas with Laura's help. Laura can help you find what you're looking for in the 512, the 737, or even parts of the 254 and the 210. Just, give her a call at 512-784-0505. Her email is in the description, as well as the rest of her contact details. She's a friend. Give her a call.
We got 2 things here, and then I'll pull up Drew M's comment. No, Brew McCoy back to Texas. Yeah, that's the secret portal. That
was always a weird take to me.
Yeah. Well, we were desperate, man. If you had like a 5th star, like, show up, please, during that era. That was a super weird recruitment, man. Drew, I saw Finkley on the broadcast. His Sark changed his tune on portaling. So he's been consistent last year too, right? I don't think he lets everyone stay. I think there's probably a conversation that occurs. Maybe he does. But it seems Finkley is a great culture guy. There's no bad blood there. Great family, great kid, smart kid, kind of do everything right, so it's like, why you let him stick around?
This kind of ties into that Zach Swanson thing earlier, where Zach was a good player for Texas, good program guy, where Justice is a good program guy, and they want to send him out the right way. The guy's trying to win a national championship. He worked all offseason with those guys. Just because he doesn't play a ton doesn't mean he's not putting in work. So I think he's just rewarding him. Chia Savea is still with the team as well. But the players had the option of whether or not they wanted to stay or go. And I think if you leave, it kind of tells you, quite a bit about them already. But yeah, he hasn't changed his stance. It's just the schedule the calendar is just so messed up. He's trying to make the fair decision for the player on both sides of it. Hey, yeah, you can stay with your teammates you've been working with, but also you can try to find another landing spot, because eventually your Texas career is coming to an end here shortly.
And Sarks, whenever he made that comment on that podcast a year or 2 ago, it was more he was saying, look, you can't hop in the portal to leverage us. That was more, he was saying, look, because people were hopping in the portal and then holding teams for ransom, right? X school offered me X amount. Can you match it, Texas? That kind of thing was going on. So Sark was saying, look, we're not playing that game. You can't hop into the portal to leverage us. But it's like, if you're transferring out and you've been a solid member of the team, you can stay while you figure out your situation.
That's exactly right. And so, but it also gives them kind of a first right of refusal. They're going to know what they're up against before a kid goes in the portal. And if he goes in, then they've already taken a pass on that one. So, but they haven't really lost a lot of guys. I think Sadir Mitchell, I guess, might be the first guy that they wanted to keep that they lost. And it's kind of funny it's that guy, but
I know,
he was going to go into the portal, and then I guess not. But yeah, for the most part, they keep all the guys they want to keep.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting at defensive tackle going forward. I said I was on that boat, and I came back for a week, and I said, where are our nose tackles, man?
Is this real? Did Oregon take Bear Alexander?
I don't know. Let me see.
If that must have just happened this morning, I guess, or is Ryan theorizing?
I don't know. You never know. Let me see.
They had good luck with the Harmon guy that had questionable mental eval But Bear's another guy that highlights the scarcity of D tackles.
Yeah, Oregon took him.
Well,
So Oregon's making some good plays.
He's talented.
How are they doing? Are they making the right plays culturally? And I literally don't know. But like, are they just kind of? Are they star hunting?
Yeah, they're just hard. It's really hard to get D tackles to Oregon. They had some good luck in the past when the West Coast seemed to be producing them with more frequency. They were able to go down to Southern California and get some guys. But when you're at Oregon, you got to take wherever you can get them from. It's tough to get them even in Texas because Texas has to go to the Southeast as well. It's even more difficult than Oregon. And yeah, they've never really had problems with mercenaries. They like I said, they got the Harmon kid, Jamari Caldwell as well from U of H. I'm not surprised, honestly. Yeah. So this question, this comment right here is probably part of it. Yeah. Dan Lanning, I can change him. Yeah, maybe so. I don't think Dan Lanning's looking to change him. I think Dan Lanning's looking to get as much as he can out of him for a year.
Exactly. It's a 1-year rental. If you follow, Bear went to Denton Ryan, where I went for a year. Then he went to Fort Worth Brewer. I mean, the most he stayed at a school is 2 years. And so if you want a 1-year rental on Bear, go for it. And I think Dan Lanning has a strong enough personality and culture to not let them wreak havoc. He might even like a little bit of that edge because Lanning's kind of an intense guy. So it is interesting. I do just wonder with Oregon, are they just looking for names? I don't think it's bad as like A&M's class, right? But and maybe that's just wishful thinking because Oregon's doing really well right now. So I just want to be like, well, maybe they're taking bad guys and not.
Yeah, that kid is just talented, and it's uncommon to find a guy that as big as him that can move like that, and that's why he's gotten way more leash than perhaps any football player I can recall. How many high schools did he go to?
Dude,
now he's on a third college.
Yeah.
The guy's leaving Georgia. I mean, if you're leaving Georgia when they want to keep you, that's kind of crazy. What's wrong with Georgia? I mean, obviously he's not leaving because of the car racing and all that. Let's be honest. But, so why do you leave? Why would you leave that situation? I don't get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. If you take too many mercenaries, it goes bad for you. But there is a number that you can get by with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not everyone is purely in love with the school. I hate to break it to you guys. Some are there for draft stock. He has a Georgia tattoo on his arm, then went to USC, now Oregon. Young guys getting bad tattoos, right? Story old as time.
There might be a guy on this podcast that's got a bad tattoo or two. So I'm not one to talk about his Georgia tattoo.
I don't have any, dude. But my dad is neck tats, sleeves, everything, dude. And so I rebelled by not getting tattoos.
Keeping a clean canvas on that. Yeah. That is you don't normally see that, I don't think, where the dad is heavily tattooed and then the son is not.
I guess that's how I rebelled, is the inverse of that. Eric, do you expect the 3 incoming freshman D-line to be ready to play next year?
Normally I fade D tackles coming in and playing early, but Myron Charles is just so athletic that sometimes when you're big and athletic, you can get by with some bad habits or playing with poor pad level at times. Justice Terry, of course, extremely talented guy. Now he didn't play a lot this year, so there's going to be some rust to knock off for him. But I think that they'll play him. Maybe not like we're expecting. Maybe they could play him as a big defensive end while he's still putting on weight. And then Sharma, I think Sharma's got a good mental eval. Pretty physically mature already. I think those guys are going to play a little bit. I do. I'm not going to say, we're not looking for saviors. That's what the portal, they need saviors out of the portal. They don't need them out of high school. They just need to get these guys developing and try to get caught up for lost time for the last couple cycles. Alex January, thanks for mentioning Alex January. He's going to play a lot, very good build, works hard, going to be a foundational piece for next year. Became even more important when they lost Sadir. January is what we're looking for. You wish the state produced more of them, especially when his dad went to UT.
Yeah.
that one couldn't have been drawn up any better for Texas. But yeah, January is going to be big. The kid they already got out of the portal's going to play a lot. He'll replace Bill Norton. They got to get a stud, at least one more stud, ideally two good players out of the portal at D tackle, and then you're in position to bring these guys along if they deserve it, if they earn it.
Yeah. Justice Terry is going from 1A Georgia ball to SEC play. He needs a year to adjust. I have no idea what his classification is in Georgia football.
Yeah, it's small ball, and he's a ball of clay, but he's very big and he's very athletic, and you can kind of get by with just being big and athletic when you're young. He's going to have to put on more weight, more strength, more technique. But yeah, I don't.
But
yeah,
damn, the raw materials there, man.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think he's just going to sit in redshirt his freshman year. I don't think so. He's just too big and talented. And let's look at it practically speaking. Did they just go balls to the wall to get that guy in the class to sit? There's just no way. You can't do that. That's not practical at all from a financial standpoint.
Yeah. So what do you think it is? So you go to the portal and you get basically like 2 mature starters, and then you work in the young guys throughout next year. Is that the ideal situation we're working at?
Yep. January is going to play a lot. And then, probably two of those 3 guys, the freshmen, are going to play. But, we're just talking about, maybe 10 snaps a game. They like to disperse those snaps throughout as many people as possible. In 2022, they played 6 guys. Vernon Broughton was the number 6 defensive tackle, and he had 240 snaps.
Yeah, dude.
So that's what they're looking for. You keep the big guys fresh. Now, they're not going to be able to have that leeway next year, I don't believe. But if you could take off your starter and bring in one of those young guys with minimal drop off, it's going to improve the reps you do get from your starters.
Yeah, it's also going to be important to have. We don't have good linebacker depth, but we have good linebacker maturity on the front lines. That'll matter too if we're young.
Yeah, there's very, very, very little dead weight remaining on this roster. And you mentioned linebacker, that makes me think of that. They're thin, but they're very talented.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's going to be important, right? You got young defensive tackles. Well, okay, now you need mature, tough backers to kind of handle that.
Yeah, I think Terry is going to flash a little bit like, Colin Simmons is doing what we saw Anthony Hill do. In different position, of course, but playing that way, I think they're going to bring him along in the same exact fashion. He's not going to – it's going to be tougher for him to have an immediate impact than it was for Simmons or Hill just because of the position he plays. Yeah. But I think that will be the goal. Bring him on third down packages and let him just pin his ears back.
Take a 28-year-old defensive tackle from JUCO, since those years don't count now.
Yeah, what a odd rule, but no doubt.
I mean, Sark went to JUCO. Sark's comment was, Sark went to JUCO, but someone countered and he was like, "Is that a BYU player saying that they don't want old players?" I thought that was a funny counter.
Yeah, wait, that's it. Go get a 28-year-old Polynesian and stick him in the middle. I'm
dude, just start scouting who's on mission right now, and then you can get like a 35-year-old player. Yep. And then in Kenny Baker, we trust. So his eval, right, was like Sark wanted a young kind of technician, right, at the position to teach scheme. Is that correct?
I think he just was looking for the best. Yeah, he definitely wanted to get younger. Because enthusiasm you got to hit the recruiting trail. Now Baker got off to a bit of a slow start at Texas, but a lot of that was due to being so unfamiliar with the territory.
Yeah,
having to put his big board together, seeing who he even wanted in the first place. So yeah, his ability, the class would have looked so much different had Bo Davis stuck around, but I don't know if it would have looked any better. But Baker's definitely known as a technician, and I think he's going to become known as a recruiter. But we got to be honest with ourselves. A lot of D-tackle recruiting is institutional recruiting. It is Texas versus Georgia. It's not Kenny Baker versus whoever Georgia's D-tackle coach is. These kind of battles are a bit above their pay grade because it takes a whole lot more than just relationship building and your skin's on the wall.
Yeah, those DTs, they ain't cheap, man. It's so weird how Texas doesn't produce them at a high level. I've always thought that's strange. I guess because we're so spready, but it's just how for one region of the U.S. to make this many big dudes, it's just kind of strange.
Yeah, demographics are real, but I don't understand why Texas is not really a part of that. There was some good bodies this cycle. Texas would have taken 3 guys in state. So they were trying for 3 towards the end. DJ Sanders, Zion Williams, and Chase Sims. Weren't able to land any of them. There's a couple other good ones throughout the cycle too. Dylan Battle, Rink going to A&M. There were more bodies than normal in state, and Texas still went out of state.
Yeah, that wasn't the best time to have a transition of defensive tackle coaches. But also, man, that's tough, dude. You show up in a new state, you don't know anyone. People have already got like a 2-year head start on you on relationships. You kind of just have to pry your way in there. It's got to be a little bit awkward at first, just showing up in a state like, "Hey, guys."
Yeah,
because I mean,
is this accurate? Are we considering Huntsville East Texas? I don't know about that.
I was actually I had to go down to Galveston for the cruise, and I was actually in your neck of the woods. I didn't realize there was that many pine trees down there too. I thought that was just purely like East Texas thing.
Well, yeah, but once you get east of Huntsville, it's nothing but pine trees. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to ponder that one.
Yeah, that town is literally it's the jail every time. That's the only thing I think of. So it's been doing good in the league too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's having a good rookie year. It wasn't just that fumble, the return that went viral. He's having a good year in general.
Vosick looks like $1 million in uniform. He sure does. Long and quick. Where do y'all see his future playing time if Moore comes back? Burke is back. Simmons is back as well.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to have Burke over at Jack where Sorrell is, and you'll have Vosick right behind him. I imagine he's gonna, if he can have a full healthy offseason, he's gonna put on another 10 pounds. And yeah, you're right. He does look like $1 million. He moves like $1 million. It's just, he's got some bodies in front of him, physical, mature, Baron Sorrell, and then Simmons is more of a better fit. Moore and Simmons are more of a better fit for that buck role because they do ask him to drop a little bit. They want him to have some sort of linebacker skill set, which Vosick is kind of more like a jack. So this, he's going to be good. Yeah, Drew M is right here. 1-2 punch with Westlake guys. Instead of being on opposite sides, I think they're going to rotate.
Yeah. You guys know that Cade Klubnik went to Westlake?
I didn't. Did you know his teammate was Michael Taff?
Oh, I did. When Burke sacked him, I thought there might be a little bit of, hey, buddy, but he just got right up and did his thing. That's always fun to sack your friends. Let's see. How much of our recent running success have to do with Coach Flood and better timing with chipping and getting to the linebacker on time? That was the big issue when we kind of did like a breakdown of the run game versus Vanderbilt, is like we couldn't get our double teams going effectively. And that seems to have changed a lot, minus Georgia. So we've definitely improved there as far as doing what we're supposed to do, because that Vanderbilt game, that was an ugly game of run blocking. So yeah, I think
timing on offense looks better. We should have talked about it when we were talking about Quinn too. Like his timing he seems to be much more in a rhythm back there, getting rid of the ball on time. I think the timing in the running game is a lot better as well. Yeah, Vanderbilt was rough. The running game has steadily gotten better. It's just kind of been obscured by the fact that Georgia got them again and we're able to keep them from running it. But ran it well against A&M,
Kentucky.
Yep. They're running the ball well. It's just they've got it. They still haven't quite figured it out against Georgia. And they might not have to. Got to get through this next game. And then
Beck is gone, right? He's out.
Yeah, Beck is out.
So see, Georgia, did you really win? Those are the kind of costs, man, where you're like, man, we beat Texas, but they took the quarterback out. Damn. Moore will be backing up Simmons. Sheesh.
Maybe.
Yeah, or a super rotation. But man, Simmons is a hell of a player, dude. His first step, it doesn't even look fair. I don't even know how he can. I mean, I guess you can get him with a hard count, but I don't even know how he processes that fast to be. I mean, he's moving with the ball. I think he might be psychic, dude. Will you investigate that? Look into that if he has
ability off the ball is insane, especially for a freshman. That's normally some fifth-year NFL guy is timing the snap count like that.
This is what I loved about Simmons' tape in high school. So, like, when you get a lot of these star players, they don't necessarily need motor because genetics bless them as an NFL talent. That's never been Colin Simmons. He's always chased down the ball in high school, always high effort. And like I said, he's fast. He can actually get to running backs and wide receivers on the sidelines, like 20 yards down the field.
Yeah, he's got a motor. That's why, Will Anderson, he reminds me of Will Anderson. Now, their body types are a little bit different, and Will's put on some weight since he left college. But Will, as a freshman, was doing similar stuff. He became a household name as a freshman, and it looked a lot like this. And then they bulked him up a little bit, and he started playing inside a little bit more. They'll never ask that of Colin. But he reminds me a lot of freshman Will Anderson.
I like Simmons' edge, man. He has an intensity to him that's really important in the position. Not just a pretty boy pass rusher. He's got the mental eval.
Yeah, it's him and Anthony Hill I think are pretty similar in that way, where they're really good dudes off the field, and then on the field they're angry. You know, they play recklessly, but also under control at the same time, some kind of way.
Dude, his personal battle with Armaj Reed Adams at A&M was cracking me up, dude. If you go rewatch the tape, those guys are fighting each other the entire game. It's DeSoto, I guess DeSoto versus Duncanville again, but there's some personal animus there that was quite funny that entire game. Michael Taft is playing too well. Need him to stop being such a dog so he comes back. I would love Taft to come back. And look, Eric, we don't have to defend him anymore, dude. In preseason, we were having to constantly stump for him, and now it's good.
We had to stump for Jahdae Barron this offseason.
Well, even I was questioning Barron because he got killed in the slot versus Oklahoma State, and you're like, dude, no, he's hurt. He's faster than that. I was like, I don't know, man. And then I was able to see, oh yeah, he's way faster than that. But
Taft had a rough first half, missed some tackles. But those are tough plays to make. That two-way go where the guy, he's coming downhill.
Backs are massive too, man. Those aren't little guys. Those are like 6'3" backs. Those are huge guys.
But Taft has had a fantastic season, and you can point to about 4 or 5 guys that are the most important guys player on defense, but he has to be one of them just because of what he does on the arranging the back end, and he makes a lot of plays too. He's not just organizing them. So they've got to get him back. They've got to get him back. I'll be worried a little bit about the defense if he leaves. She had some struggles the other day, and then he came out in that second half. Played like Michael Taft.
Yeah. Well, just the culture, man, between him, Makuba, and Barron, just the bevy of T-shirts that have been made to support each other.
Those guys have known each other for a long time, being Centex football players, and Taft has always had the respect of those guys, even the guys that were highly rated, heavily recruited. He always had the respect of them. Everybody knew he was good. It wasn't some secret to to players in the area.
Dude, walk on to All-American. Ain't bad. Ain't a bad gig. I still remember when he got his scholarship video.
Yeah, those are always good. Those will get you in your field. Yeah, those are always.
Well, dude, I'd save them for losses. We don't lose that much anymore, but dude, you lose Georgia, just put 3 kids on scholarship, and everybody will feel real good about it. Let me see.
Hold on. This is the wrong way to look at it. This should have absolutely nothing to do with his decision making. His decision making should be entirely about whether or not he's ready for the NFL, not if the team won a national championship. He's not taking the team with him to go play with him in the NFL. It's whether or not he's ready. He's got to do what's best for him for him to hit the ground running in the NFL. I think he needs 10 pounds. It's just like if Texas wins a national championship with Arch next year, that doesn't mean he's leaving. It's all about whether or not he's ready to hit the ground running and be successful in the NFL.
Yeah. Simmons has 8 sacks already. Will had 7.
Oh, my comp is blown. Terrible comp.
It's actually no, dude. Will Anderson is like Colin Simmons. You got it backwards, dude. Yeah, you got it flip. But also, he's going to have not yet, but he's going to have, I think, 1 more game potentially if you go all the way.
Well, there's going to be some opportunities against Leavitt. Leavitt's going to drop back a little bit, so he's going to have plenty more chances. And then, hopefully. Who do you think? We don't want to get ahead of ourselves with Arizona State, but who would you rather have Texas play, Oregon or Ohio State? It's a tough call.
Well, dude, Clemson's wide receivers are able to do a little bit of work, so I think it's got to be. I got to be a little bit wary of Ohio State's wide receiver core, but also Will Howard. PK's done a great job of not letting him do his thing. Dylan Gabriel gave me PTSD.
Yeah, we got a double negative here, so I think he means he does want. Maybe he is from East Texas. Never mind. Yeah. Yeah, that's me too, man. I've got the Dylan Gabriel running around with his head cut off, making plays, phobia. So I think but I think Ohio State's the better team.
Who has the better defense? That's my question. Because our defense is so good. It's who do I think can limit our offense the most? Well,
yeah. Who can Texas run the ball on?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's my non-answer. Neither. Somehow neither. It will be interesting to watch that rematch. Colin has also forced 3 fumbles, and he can intercept the ball when it's in the air.
Yeah, he's
elite.
The roster is just filled with elite talent. Anthony Hill, first round draft pick. They're gonna even though the devalue of linebacker from the NFL, he's still going to go in the first round. And you got Simmons going to go top 5 probably. Ryan Wingo is going to go top 5 probably if he tightens up a little bit on his route running and stuff and just becomes more refined. It's just lots of elite talent on the roster.
Yeah. Seems people very clearly want Ohio State here. So
yeah, I think they're that loss to Michigan is fresh on everybody's minds. And then Dylan Gabriel will never forget that game last year. Interesting, both quarterbacks are quite familiar with Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, and Howard's been able to be bottled up, but also he has far better talent than he did at Kansas State too. So it's not always a 1-to-1.
The interesting storyline with Texas and Ohio State is, Texas opens with Ohio State next year.
Yeah, that's true.
With 2 extremely overhauled rosters, they're going to lose. They're losing more than Texas, and so that would be an interesting storyline. What if Texas beats them twice in a row? Of course, what if Texas loses to them twice in a row?
Yeah. Yeah. And now everyone, our strength of schedule is like 15th in the nation or something like that. So everyone shut up now. We've actually had to play some dudes. Playoffs going to be fun. Arizona State, like I said, their fans are fired up. They've got the, Eric said earlier, Team of Destiny vibe. They've got the we're being disrespected vibe. We've got the culture wins games. This is all assuming that Texas has no heart, no culture. Texas does have heart and culture. But it'll be interesting, right? I think the Arizona State fans are doing their part in selling the fight. I really haven't ever had to deal with them. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And I will be watching their games because tomorrow me and Paul will be doing the breakdown. So tune in 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Me and Paul will give you guys our opinions. We'll go through the stats, but also the personnel. It'll be a lot of fun. Fans, thanks for hanging out. Eric, thanks for your time. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and hook 'em.